floor to Janne Kareinen, who is a freelance writer and for last 5.5 years involved in neighbourhood management in Helsinki in the most innovative and active. First I thought that, well, I don't know if I can introduce it like that, but then I checked the website, it said that most innovative, most active neighbourhood in Helsinki. So it's not a, it's a truth.
It's not a lie.
It's not a lie. And I'm not exaggerating. Well, you have to judge later. And yeah, the neighbourhood is quite on the edge of the centre of Helsinki. I would say Araviranta, Toukola, Vanha Kaupunki, and the association is called Artova. And Artova is very, I would say, conscious neighbourhood because the way they are organising their work is well thought through. And Janne is one of the main visionary behind this kind of operating model, and also currently creating new operating model that could be an example for other neighbourhoods, also here in Tallinn. So tomorrow morning we will have a breakfast with Janne at the Uusmine, and he will test the new operating model on us. But yeah, anything else? No. Okay, and just one key word about how you are organizing your work is this, how you also called it democracy of doing, tegemisen demokratia. So this could describe your work, but please.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope I remember something. It was really big and really good organized. But I have a memory list of it in that slide. And thank you for the invitation. It has been already very interesting. And I hope that you get some ideas. And we are often accused about boldness or that kind of arrogancy. But we try not to lie. And I try to tell why we think that we are doing pleasurable things. And pleasure is one key thing in our action. And you can go the next slide. And oh, it's a little bit over. We are Artova, and we have 3 districts or neighborhood in same neighborhood association, and they are Vanha Kaupunki, Old Town, where Helsinki has spawned. Something like 1550 or something like that. And then there is Toukola, which is this kind of wooden cottage, very idyllic, what is it? Idyllinen area. I will ask words. I probably, because I know that Tele is understanding Finnish, it's a little bit difficult to me to remember English words. And then there is this Araviranta, which is very modern, and there is a lot of public art, something like 80 public art pieces, and very new area. And we are neighborhood association, all of these 3 neighborhoods. And there's something like 8,000 inhabitants and something like 5,000 students and a little bit less than 300 companies and something like 2,500 teachers, because there is high schools or universities over there. And we are people. We are a neighborhood association. We are not habitants association. There's a lot of habitants in our actions, but we are a neighborhood association, and it means that there's people doing things, and they are residents, workers, entrepreneurs. It's a very difficult word. And then there's students, and then there's different kind of players, like schools and other associations and companies and officials and what you can find in one certain area. And we do neighborhood development and art and cultural events, and we pilot new things and models and practices. We are doing development things. And in Helsinki, I don't know how it's in here, but in Helsinki especially, usually when somebody's speaking about neighborhood association, they mean Nimbus, not in my backyards. And in 2008, when we have started this kind of new method to doing things, and doing things with a new ideology, we did make that kind of decision that we don't go against anything. If there's something that we want to change, we will think it a little bit more, and then we have some kind of new idea, and we will go with this idea to try to change it. But we don't have that kind of complaints to the officials or complaints to the area actors or anybody. We don't complain. Ever, never. We haven't done it. Beginning of 2008, we haven't complained anything in that time. And in 5 years, in 2007, this neighborhood association has been established in 77, and it has been very active in times and not so active in other times, and 2007 it was totally dead. And there was 5 persons, including me, which went in the board in beginning of 2008. And then we start to think that what would we do so that we don't end up to be bitter and exhausted, because that is usually what happens in associations. In Finland, I don't know if it happens here also, but in Finland it happens. Usually association, there's enthusiastic people in beginning, and then there's enthusiastic same people in after 1 year and 2 year and 3 year, and then they start to become bitter and exhausted because they are same people doing all things.
Exactly the same as.
Okay, good.
We are starting to get bitter.
Okay, good. I hope that there is some help for our working models for that.
We need fun.
Yeah, and pleasure. Pleasure is the one key thing for us. And in that situation that 2007 our association was dead, and it was a very good starting point for us, because we did have to think what we will do differently so that we don't end up in that same situation after 5 years or 2 years or some years. And then we have discussion about neighborhood associations' role and what kind of player neighborhood association is and what kind of partners there is. And you can go to the next slide. And there is our ideology. Give the power to people in the area to decide what is happening in that certain area. That is what we try to do. And I think that in some sense we have succeeded to go in that direction, not to do that totally. I don't know if it's possible totally. I hope it is. And what we do, we give away power and responsibility. And these two goes hand in hand always. You can't give away responsibility if you don't give away also power. And then we do group actions. Nobody is doing anything by themselves. We will find person to do things with you if you want to do something. And then when we are giving that power and responsibility, they are self-initiated and self-directed through groups. We don't go there and say that no, now you have wrong direction in this group, you should have take this path or something like that. We trust these groups that they can manage these things. If they are interested about things, they can manage it. And then one very important thing is openness. Things are not ready. We think that change is something that keeps things alive. And then transparency and information. In 2007, it was impossible to find that kind of, what you call it, when you can pay your fee for to be a member of association. You couldn't find that. And you couldn't find any information what that association was doing. And because we don't want to do everything by ourselves, we try to tell as much as we can about everything. Try to be as transparent as we can. Try to publish everything so that people can see, oh, okay, there's that kind of group, I can join it. And also, this is very important thing, rotate people. I'm not chairman of the board in this year anymore, and I'm very happy of that. I was 5 years, and I felt like dinosaurs, because we have succeeded to do that, rotate people, and it usually happens so that persons come, for example, in the board, and after 1 year they select concerning about their interest, what they want to do. For example, urban farming or events or urban planning, and they go that group from the board. Usually it goes like this. And we try to speak this up so that people can knowledge that it's very normal to change position inside of association, and we are not expecting that when you come once come to board, you have to stay there for your whole life because nobody else is coming to place you. For example, in the beginning of this year, there's 6 old members in board and 7 new members in board. And when we have this rotation, I will later tell you how we are managing this välittää tietoa eteenpäin. I have translator here. There's yes, knowledge transfer. I have written it over here. Very good, very good. So we have taught different kind of things that help this, that people can change, and they don't feel that if I don't do this, nobody else will do it. And we give people support. If there's a new person, we give support, and we will give some kind of package for information, that kind of limited package of information. These are main points of Artova actions, and these kind of actions we have. And then knowledge transfer. And then we roll and schedule, how you say that word? Scheduling. Scheduling groups and people. When we form new groups, we ask those groups by themselves think about rolling themselves and scheduling. Was it that? Scheduling. Scheduling by themselves, by their own action. We are not doing that for those groups. We are asking them by themselves to do it. And this is that kind of knowledge transfer. We tell them that we know that in this kind of group actions, these are 2 most important things. Have that kind of roles that you don't have too much in the plate or too little. And that everybody in the group has some kind of role. And they are named, those roles. So that everybody knows that, okay, in this event I'm not charged about information. So I don't have to worry that we don't have any information ever, anywhere. It's that person's responsibility to do that. And this is very important thing when you think pleasure. We are not talking about voluntary work, we are talking about voluntary action. And when you This is difficult word. What was it? Scheduling. When you are scheduling things, you don't get so much hurry and you can think about your life in total. Because everybody has other lives than Artova also, and we try to tell people that you have life outside of Artova. Don't use all your time in Artova. And then you have certain kind of role that you know. I'm doing this thing in this project or group, and I'm using this amount of time in this action. So I can read books in the different evening or something like that. And then we do everything in cooperation. Cooperation with authorities and also different players in the area and team-based partners, and everything is cooperation. And these are because of that beginning of 2008. We didn't have any money. We didn't have more than 5 people. So we didn't have any resources. And we thought we want to active this area and we want to do things what we will do when we don't have money and resource people and we don't have anything. So we went to see a different kind of players and ask, do you want to do with us? And ask people to come to join us. Do you want to be a part of this kind of action? And then, this one I already said. We developed things. We are not nimblies. We give proposals and we make pilots. And it goes through everything. That is the reason why I'm here. I'm very interested to listen about your way of doing things and very interested about your guidelines, what you are doing. And they are new things for us. You have done it, it was 40 years? How long it have been?
14 years.
14 years, 14 years. Yeah. You can go to the next one. There's methods, how we do it. As I'm doing now, I speak out about this ideology and methods. And we try to speak up these also among us. Because there's quite a lot of people and nobody knows these by heart, or there isn't this kind of art of a drink that you can drink and know these things. So we try to speak them up so that we can ourselves understand what we are doing. And then we do correct actions, concrete actions, I mean. For example, we are usually when we do something, we have established a cultural and habitat house in 2008, and it's now most active cultural and habitat house in Helsinki. There's something like 50 regular courses by week, and there's something I don't know, 700 visitors by week, 350 square meters. When we were doing that, we visit very many kind of cultural and habitat houses to see how other has done that, and try to learn about those different houses. And then after that, when we make that benchmarking, we start to do it. We start to see that what kind of limits we have, what kind of persons we have, what kind of possibly partners we will have, and what are the limits, and very concrete to think how this will be established quite soon. And then we try to use light working methods, low bureaucracy, digital groups and tools. In Artova, middle age is something like 30, 35, and in Helsinki usually neighbourhood association middle it's something like plus 65 or something like that, yeah. And most active person are those kind of person that have small children. I have 3 children, 9, 5 and 3 months. I'm doing work and I'm doing this voluntary action. I don't have much time. And I'm a little bit old. Most of our people are a little bit younger. I'm 44. And because of the time limit and because of people's resources, they have been used to this kind of digital working methods and tools, and they hate this kind of organization and bureaucracy. They try to do light things quite quickly and effectively. And all those 5% in the beginning of 2008 did have small children. My youngest was just born. And sorry?
You escaped home,
Yeah. Yes.
You also slept from in community house.
No, we didn't have a community house in that time. It was 2008 that we succeeded to have it in area. I like my family a lot and try to spend a lot of time with them, and that's why I'm very keen on these light working methods and digitality, because we don't have so much meetings. I don't like associations, and I think that in Helsinki in general nobody likes associations. Nobody wants to form associations. They want to have this kind of movements, that kind of free groups that haven't organized at all. They want to do things, not to have meetings. And we have that kind of advance that we have this organization which can be this kind of law thing that we can have a responsibility and we can apply money and do that kind of things. And then we have these groups which works very movement kind. They are not organized in that kind of very official way. And we very often form groups in the sessions. It's facilitated workshop method, which has developed for us one facilitating company. And main things in that facilitated session, because normally in neighborhood association there's huge problem to get the people to part in that kind of association actions. And it has formed in 2008 to help to get new persons to be involved in actions. Main things in that session is that it brings that kind of new people that don't have a history with the voluntary work or Artova at all. And then they are team-based in 1 4-hour session usually. Some certain team as graphic or safety. And we try to get very concrete toimenpidesuunnitelma, action plan in that one evening. Those people which will come in the sessions, there is different, we will ask the team-based authorities, and then area players as schools and certain kind of players are directly asked to be a part in these sessions. And then it's open for everybody. And then we try to marketing is as much as we can. We, for example, use this kind of illegal posters for the posts, because it's illegal in Finland.
And it works.
Yeah, it works very well. Most of those people that haven't had any history about voluntary work or Artova came through these posters. And then in this one evening we have this concrete action plan, and then we select leader for this group and engage these persons which are participating in that session, and they have had ideas and they have developed these ideas further to form this kind of group, and they all power and responsibility about that team and start to do it. We will have that kind of what was it? Backdrop, help from the back for the person. Yes, support. For those groups, help them that you can apply money from here, or you can. This is the way you should deal with authorities, for example. Or these are suggestions that we have had in these kind of actions. We can tell these kind of things for these groups. And then there's this rotation of the people, and then discussion and inquiry. It's very important. When these kind of groups are formed, or we are negotiating with some partner that they want to do with us something, we ask. And about people, we ask what you want to do, not what you are skilled to do. We ask what you want to do. What is pleasurable thing you to do? Not so that, oh, okay, you are a journalist, you can do write stories, so you used to stories. There are amazing skills when people can do what they dream to do or what they want to do, and they put so much effort into doing it. They take it. It happens very often that we have a small plan, do something small, and then we give this power and responsibility to these groups which have thought that they do this small thing, and then they realize that they really have power and responsibility about this team. And suddenly it becomes larger and larger, and they engage so deeply in that team or action that they are doing, that we have to sometimes say that this is enough. You have done enough. Think about your life. You have other life also.
Which group did that?
Quite many. For example, my house Arabiaranta, which has a certain event, and traffic and lightning group. There was leader which was so engaged and quite often. But we have now routines to say that there has been this person that you should do a little bit less, or you can do as much as you can, but we can have seen this happening earlier also, and it might be good to do a little bit less and leave more.
You're cutting the enthusiasm.
They do more than after that. They don't tell us.
Forbidden things.
And cooperation is that kind of very important thing. We do that same thing, discussion and inquire with the city authorities and also with the companies. Do you want to be a part of this kind of action, and what kind of role you think that you would have in this kind of action? What would you like to do? Not that you have this city plan knowledge, come and plan us this and this thing. Or you have a PA, which is, do you know what is PA? In the events you have this music, and then you have these loudspeakers and these kind of things. That you have this kind of music equipments. PA, okay. So we don't say these partners that you have this PA, give them to us. We ask, we tell them that we have this kind of event or action. Would you like to be a part of this kind of action or event? And then we ask what you want to do, how much you want to do. Do you have resources to do that? And we try to form this kind of very long-term partnerships so that we don't have to negotiate them again and again and again. And also because we hope that people will rotate, so that it doesn't matter if this person that have negotiated this partnership changes, because we have this kind of long-term partnership, and they have different certain kind of deal that this will go like this in the month and the month and the month and the year and year and year.
But you don't do any contracts with them?
Yes, we do.
Do?
It depends on the player, in written or in speaking or with the email quite often. It depends on what kind of partner it is.
Also with the city government?
They have to be very good written and they have to be legal signature and everything, yes. We have two that kind of lots which we have rented from the city government. And regulation in that contract is awful. It's same contract that, for example, Nokia would do with the Helsinki city than we have done it. City government don't have any other kind of contract form. And then rotation of people. This is very important. Writing down knowledge and experiences. Every happening and every project have own interests. We use this kind of free softs. This is used in intranets. We use BB Works, which is free and there's 2 gigabits space. Wiki-based intranet. For example, when we do have this kind of Arabia Street Festival. It's quite big. It was last Saturday. There was something like 10,000 visitors and more than 100 artists and something like 100 flea markets and something like 25 restaurants, pop-up restaurants, because it was also restaurant day in that day. And cafeterias, there was something like 10 or 20, I don't know. Every time there's new group doing this action, this was 6th time that we organized that happening. And there's own intro for that. And there's every contract and every plan and every schedule. What is it? It's timetable. Timetable is much more easier word for me. Every timetables from the last year. And there's also rolling. What kind of roles people have had last year, so they don't have to start from the zero. This is knowledge transfer, I think. And then this is very important thing, positive information flow. We try to tell for ourselves and other volunteer actors and also for the media and partners what succeeding we will have or have had. And I think that that's something that usually don't happen. People don't say thank you and people don't tell that, oh, that group was, this succeeded and did this and this kind of things. For example, probably you do. You have had one article written almost already to tell that you have managed to give ask her to come and tell you how in Berlin things are done. I think that this is very important thing to tell everybody that this is huge success thing to do. And this is one step. We are trying to do so that we have that kind of small and larger steps so that, for example, in if I think that Arabia Street Festival, we are informing that now we have very good performers. And then we inform that now we have 10 voluntary person in that group that is doing this amazing event. These kind of small things, and we tell this for the internal use so that we tell this also for the group and also for the partners and media. And then there is this happening, and then we inform to everybody that this was what happened and it was that and that kind. And then pleasure. It's most important thing. This is voluntary action. People are doing it their spare time. They are not in work. I hate that word, voluntary work. I don't know how it can be. How can it be this kind of pleasurable thing that you can change your area and you can do very many kind of things through the voluntary action, why it's called in voluntary work. It's something like, I don't want to be a part of voluntary work.
I still just like the work very much.
Okay, you have to change it. Pleasure, pleasure. Pleasure is the key word. Now you can go next one.
I don't know if this is, I mean, when you are in this neighborhood council, this is also work to do. I hope this is also pleasure, but I mean, if the people have committed to be in this neighborhood council, then it is important that they come to the meetings. So this is not so voluntary anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Or if you, for example, take over some godfathership for readings in school, that you just show up and read with the students over there, with the children. So this is not so voluntary anymore, you know?
I don't think so. I think that how you think about this thing, what you, how you evaluate that partnership in that council or that grandparent which is reading in the kindergarten, what you think about it, and what you tell about those persons and how you form in ideological way, what is importance about this thing, what you are offering, and I think that it can be molded in that way. And I think that we have succeeded in a small part of doing this.
And you shouldn't pay, of course.
I don't think.
Once you mentioned word money.
Yeah, I get paid from this. And half time.
So it is your work too?
This is my work now. In chairman of the board, I didn't get paid. And I do huge amount of things in Artova which I don't get paid. And in Artova there is one paid, a whole-time paid person, it's coordinator. And she coordinates both that cultural and habitant house kääntöpaikka, where you are all invited in Arpieranta. And then there's me, which get half days salary from doing this, and I will tell a little bit about this. And this is project.
From where the money is coming? From the
I will tell.
community?
Yeah, I will tell it. And then we have something like 10 persons that are paid to produce events. Very little. It's that kind of good gesture to give producers really small fee to do huge amount of things. But I don't think that they are salary at all, they are so small. This is the model that we are molding now. There have been 6 different groups which has made blog posts, and we have tried to gather knowledge how we are doing things. And we are trying to have that kind of knowledge that how this kind of voluntary action you can give away power and responsibility, and how these groups can really be self-initiative and self-directed. And that's the thing that we try to get out of it. And there have been design dog park group, My House Arpieranta. It didn't form a group, there was only one person to do it, and she get very stressed and a little bit bitter. But it was very good for this model because we could have this kind of knowledge that this is a good way to do things. And then there was Edible Arpieranta, and then there was Artova Film Festival and Arpia Street Festival, and also Artova Kino, which is that kind of cine club that we run in every Tuesday. And from these groups we have gathered information in different ways, and then we have analyzed it, or one group has analyzed it. And now one person is doing this interactive visualization, which should be so that there is this cross, that groups that are doing this kind of action can visualize the things through this. And there will be guidelines and questions, so you can think by yourself that what we are doing and how we are organized and how we are doing things. We hope that this is Artova is now mentoring things, and Artova is mentoring groups. We hope that partly this will do that mentoring, and this will be in English and Finnish in both languages, and June will be first draft of this in the internet, and this will be established in September 6th. And where we get money? Our coordinator makes grant applications, and we have this kind of grant and strategy group which try to think ahead of things. Group of people. Some of them are from the board, and some are just interested about this long-term strategy thinking. And we look grants. There's huge amount of grants in Finland that you can apply, and there's certain qualification for these grants. A little bit as you have these grants for the neighborhoods. And then there was this World Design Capital Helsinki 2012 last year in Helsinki. And we were one big official partner in that. And we get money from that fund. And we promised to do this kind of working model to them. And in June we promised, but we are a little bit late. It will be in September. And when we start in 2008, we just thought that it would be nice to have a little bit active area, because it was totally sleeping neighborhood, that Artova area, in the beginning of 2008. And we didn't know that there is very active person in that area. There was neighborhood actions in the houses and yards, but not in this kind of general overall activity in this kind of area-wise. And we thought that it would be nice to have a little bit action over here, and we thought that what would be the action that will get noticed in the area. And we thought that, okay, we start to make small happenings. Very small action and small happenings, and through year, so that we have 4 different happenings in through year, so that people can participate those and come and do those things. We thought that we are not going to give a shows, or we are not going to give anything to the people. We will ask people to come and do by themselves things. And then we were very successful in that year 2008. And then we start to think in 2009 that what have we done? Why this is happening? Why there's suddenly so much active actions in this area?
In 1 year?
Yes, in 1 year. We established, for example, local newspaper, which is running still, and there was publication was 80,000. And we succeed to have this cultural and habitant house, so that renovation start beginning of 2008. And also this neighborhood ideology changed in that year, and there was huge amount of things. Somebody said, because we have this official spring and semester this kind of year meetings for the association where all the big things should be decided. Somebody said we have this plan for the year 2008 in the, I think, April. Somebody said that if you can have 10% of those things that you have listed, you have succeeded totally. And I remember that moment in 10th month. What is the name of 10th month? October. I remember that moment in October when I watched that list and I noticed that we have done this all. What we do now? And it was so that kind of rush of amazement that how voluntary action can do these kind of things. And suddenly notion that neighborhood association is actually very good player because it's neutral, it's not political association. Nobody have that kind of bad thoughts, especially except city officials have that kind of bad expectation about neighborhood association, but nobody else didn't have that kind of bad look or bad atmosphere about neighborhood association. And so it was very easy to have partnerships and very easy to get people to be a part of action. And then in that 2008 we thought that what we are doing and how we can find out what we are doing. And then when they established that people, Finland is applying this World Design Capital for design, when Finland succeeded to have it, we were very active and contact those members in the VDC organization. It's shorter in VDC organization, and tell that we are doing this kind of things and we have this kind of need to try to understand what we are doing, and we can no, we didn't say that we can, we said that we want to do model so that we can land it everywhere else also, because we think that it's wonderful. And then that's the reason why we applied that fund to do that. And we were happy that Finland's application in written there was Arpia and also this kind of service design that we are doing. So it napped in that VDC organization, and that's why I'm here. I didn't have resources to come here because of my life. I would do something day job somewhere else if I wouldn't have this opportunity to concentrate on this in half of my days. But you can see it. I have those kind of cards also where there's internet address, and you probably have this later. Okay, you can go next one.
Do you have any followers? I mean, just people who just already transferred your model?
Yeah, there's quite many organizations and city bureaus that have benchmarked this Artova model. And in this VDC official program, there was Maunula, which was commissioned to benchmark this Artova model. I don't know if they did it. I haven't had any results from the Maunula yet. But we have huge amount of visitors, mostly in Finland, but also from the Sweden, and happily you, and different kind of visitors, youth houses, cultural houses, central library, social bureau, because we have reputation. Next city, one area is benchmarking Artova, try to do same kind of neighborhood actions. You have this kind of followers, but not to follow this Artova model because we don't have it already in that kind of clear form. It goes like this, I go and present it. And now, happily, we have also different presentators from the board which will do the same thing later. But there's actions that we do, some of them. I'm not going to tell them. I will concentrate on this cooperation with the city of Helsinki because I know that you are interested about that. And this is the way, or that kind of action routine that we do. Last thing is blackmailing, but we do that also. These are the projects that we have done with the city of Helsinki. This local democracy pilot, which is Helsinki City's pilot program, there's 7 areas and 2 team-based near democracy pilots. And then urban farming, design dog park, events and urban planning. Most important thing is this. We have quite good reputation of most of bureaus in Helsinki. And we have reputation. Authorities usually know who is Artova or where they come from. And I think that main reason for that is that we think that authorities are also humans. And this, I think this is a revolutionary thought in Helsinki, because usually people think that there are some evil authorities which try to make everything is as awful and impossible. But we don't think so. We think that there is people in these jobs and they have life and they have limitations and they are living person. And we try to speak with them as we are human also.
Even the politicians?
We have very good relationship with the local politicians. There is that kind of rush of new active urbanism through the politicians in Helsinki. There's quite young people in the politics nowadays. And we have always had very good relationships with the local politicians. And then respect. We want that city of Helsinki respect us. Because it's not happening automatically. We are a neighbourhood association. For example, Jussi Pajunen, which is, what is the title? Mayor of Helsinki, tried to call us again and again Habitant Association. And we didn't answer in that naming. We said that we are a neighbourhood association. We are not Habitant Association, because there is this putting down tone in the Habitant Association. We demand respect. We are skillful people. We have knowledge about our area. We know much more better certain things. City planning knows different kind of things much more better than we do. But we have certain kind of knowledge that they can't have without us. And we demand respect. And then we negotiate. We have had active negotiation, and we have had very good and very easy negotiation. And usually it depends, does it go in somewhere in the city's language? We try to think that city thinks about financing things and city thinks money. And we try to form these, our plans, how these affects on city's money. How they how they benefit from our actions, and also how we benefit from their actions. We are not giving them something that come and take these voluntary players to do your work. we are saying that we are as respectful players than you are. We have different roles. And if this is not working, if there's some awful feedback or something like that, we start to blackmail them with the media. That's the only thing that we have. We don't have any other way to pressure. As to, for example, when the Artova was formed, that is Arpjalanta is new area, and new areas in Finland there's huge amount of families which have small children, kindergarten age children. And the city plan, there was 9 this kind of small kindergartens in area. And then there was depression, and they look again statistics and get that kind of conclusion that there won't be any children in the Arpjalanta, this new area at all. So they remove all those kindergartens. It was amazing. 2003, they removed all kindergartens. And then there was a situation that kids were transferred other side of city in the kindergartens because there wasn't kindergartens, because there wasn't kids.
And you didn't complain?
We didn't complain. We didn't complain. We did have this kind of mini seminar about discussion. What is this situation with the authorities that are demanding or this kind of chief positions in these matters? And we were discussing with them that what is this thing that is happening, and then we discussed with them that can we do together something to have a good conclusion about that. That this isn't that kind of situation that city can kestää. It can not last, but it's not good situation for the city either. It's awful situation for those parents which have to go in 1.5 hours to get to kindergarten and 1.5 hour back. So it's not that kind of situation that will go on and on and on. And we try to discuss with them about this, and then we have this kind of idea and proposal. There was this one space that has planned to be small kindergarten, and there was city's housing bureau in that space in that moment. And we success that this is we visit that space and we talk with the architect that is that changeable for the kindergarten needs still. And then we suggest that you can change this space very easily to be a kindergarten and have this kind of little relief of this pressure that these kids are in this moment. And they were very polite and they said, yeah, but there is this housing company now. And then when they didn't do anything, we did make this kind of open letter for the media. And we write down that this will be published in that and that time. If we can negotiate with you still, we are hoping that we will have this kind of very good negotiation, but we will establish this or send this to the media in this day if we don't get some conclusion in this time. And that was blackmailing. We tried. People respect negotiation, and then we did have to blackmail. But we didn't complain. I hope so.
Janne, I have to stop you now because
Yeah.
it's quite late. But if you have something very important...
Actually, I don't. This was the last one.
Okay.
You can go with the last one. There is addresses.
Yeah.
This is the model's address. It will be come here. And this is neighbourhood association's address.
Since you didn't have any slides, we have some, just for the background, some pictures of
actions.
slideshow of what Artova people are doing. But thank you very much. I hope our neighbourhood enthusiasts got some useful tips from you.
don't put the sound on it.
The sound is not yes. I would like to know if there's anyone skeptical about neighborhood activists. Like, this was very idealistic in a way, but also very self-confident what you are doing. Is there someone opposing this, that neighborhood should be lively, or thinking that why the hell? Let's continue living with
you turn even the dog yard is a pleasure.
Yeah, some of.
That was my question, kind of, who is doing the non-so-pleasure things like taking the liquor out of the street or fighting against some criminality or something like this?
Some people like that kind of things also. People have different kind of desires. Somebody wants to be a cleaning person and don't want to so much responsibility. And if you ask, usually you can find persons to do all kind of things. Somebody is getting pleasure out of. Somebody is getting pleasure out of making bills, or making this kind of reservation, or taking care of calendar. I don't. I'm not that kind of person, but somebody is making pleasure of that. And if you put this kind of very clear roles, that you can be a responsibility about this, for example, cleaning of this table, you can be a, you can be a part of Artova Action, and you can feel that you belong in this group which is doing things. And this is all that I have to do. I don't think that there is this kind of, usually people think that there is this kind of ugly things. I like these blackmailing things. I like negotiate things. And I like to invent things that, you can watch this thing in different direction. Somebody don't like these kind of things.
You're a bit like Linnalabor's bookkeeper, who her invoices are also bookkeeping is a way of art, philosophy behind it. Something like that.
That's the way of looking things.
And she or he is working in the wrong place. Should be a finance manager.
Yeah, try to turn her into that. But still, I keep asking question: is anybody
Our
skeptical?
area days.
You see skeptical.
No, I don't get it, but I have one question. How do you deal with the information overflow? Or do you have information overflow?
You only have positive information.
If the information
And
is...
the overflow is also positive.
It's most difficult thing. And we try to form again and again that kind of information group that can manage information overload. And one thing that we do in those groups, that those groups don't know everything, and I don't know everything that Artois is doing. It's not possible. And for example, all projects and happenings have own interests, so that they don't see any others' information, because it would be, as you told us, huge amount of things. It's quite overwhelming. We try to avoid that, so that we have that kind of, almost that kind of solo cells that doing things by themselves. And there's a lot of these cells, and very often they don't know what other cells is doing. Yeah.
For me, there is my problem is if there is some group who is doing some things, and in some time in that period where they doing things, somebody wants to join, but he don't know about the groups or about the work.
That is one thing that we are trying to do now.
Okay.
We are trying to do, for example, those interests are doing quite well in that term. Because you can say that read in this intra in this and these memos. We make memos in every meeting. Not that kind of official table books or what you call them, but memos, very light memos where you can follow how these things have developed, and you don't have to be in those meetings so that you can follow those actions. And we try to tell new person that read this and this memo because there is most viable things concerning about this. And then another thing is that how we help to people take a part of this kind of group. We try to roll those people immediately so that they feel that they are engaged of that group and they have some role. For example, cleaning this table, but so that we ask what you like to do. For example, that lighting and traffic group, what you would like to do. There's this and this kind of things that you can do. What is that kind of that you dream of, that you have secret dream that I always wanted to negotiate this traffic designer, and I have always dreamed to know what kind of plans Helsinki have about traffic or lighting, or I always want to give a posters in the house to inform about this group. We try to keep that kind of open rolling in those groups so that you can find certain kind of role.
As I understand, this is not hard work, but hard pleasure.
Yeah, it's hardcore pleasure, I think so.
Okay, I think it's good place to end. I'm not going to say any conclusion because you go home and make your own conclusion, but just the article Janne referred to is just before the seminar. We, with Regina's help, we did an interview with Janne and Pirjo Tulikuka, who is actually the head of Helsinki Neighbourhood Association, and Peter Richman, the sociologist from LINNAIDEE's team, was also there, and it will be published hopefully in the beginning of June in our weekly culture paper called Sir. So please read it, and then the English one somewhere as well, that you know. So thank you all for coming. We'll meet you again. I forgot, like, official event gifts. Yeah. For Katja, I have the DVD of yours, Artova in Tallinn, let's say so. So you have an overview of our problems and pleasures. And since Janne has it already, this is for your planning group. Punishment of Linnalabor, Tallinn planning guides. In Estonian, of course. You understand. So thank you for coming, and you can stay here for a while if you want to discuss something. Eat the rest of it.